Today is Friday, August 6th, 2021, which means it's Derelict Friday. Hello, fiendlings, how the hell are you? I'm finally back in my so-called recording booth, and struggling my way through the remaining chapters for Trident. All this, of course, while I await cover art and edits. Assuming I can dodge most of the lawn services, neighbors performing self-improvement projects, and the occasional bout of thunderstorms, I might be able to finish it by next week. We'll see just how many chapters I can get finished this weekend. Speaking of chapters, my Patreon patrons at the $10 level are getting the chapters as they are produced. Meaning as soon as I deem one ready for the audiobook and podcast, it's posted to the Patreon for them to consume. Want to support the podcast, me writing more books, and guarantee more content? Join at patreon.com/Paul E. Cooley for details. And one more item before I go. I'm drinking a cup of corpse coffee as I always do, and if you're a caffeine addict like myself, I highly recommend you visit corpsecoffee.com and get a corpse in your cup. With that, I'll let you get to your content and your weekend. Be safe, have a great week, and we'll talk again real soon. Here's episode 35 of Derelict, Trident. Chapter 57. Dunn was still beneath the medical bay's habitable area, attaching the components to his block before shuffling control to Noble's console. The lieutenant didn't even know it was happening. "Good to hear your voice," Dunn said to LeBlanc.
"Yours as well,"
LeBlanc said.
"Toby is flying in one of my SVs. He is mostly unharmed."
Dunn fought a laugh. "Mostly. I'll coordinate with him in a minute. First off, what the void is going on?" LeBlanc cleared her throat.
"You might say there was a revolution."
"Revolution?" Dunn asked. Suddenly things were beginning to make sense. "The trio," he said. "The energy wave. What happened?" LeBlanc sighed.
"I have been receiving orders to destroy Trident Station immediately upon return from Uranus."
"Uranus?" Dunn stopped himself before asking another question or letting her respond. Time was evaporating quickly. "Do you know why?"
"SF-Gov appears to be under the impression that every AI in the solar system is being controlled from Trident Station or the shipyards. Therefore, they want us to destroy them both."
No, maybe SF-Gov understood the kind of shit Dunn had been dealing with. "What are you going to do?"
"At present, I consider the orders premature as there are still survivors aboard Trident Station. Therefore, I will rescue as many personnel as I can before I comply."
Dunn connected and authorized the final system. His block connection to the systems died. No more block. No more hack. No more AI control. He turned and jogged to the slip point leading to the habitable levels. "We'll be ready here in a few minutes. What are our friends doing?"
"Coming in fast. They picked up speed. ETA 10 solar."
"Of course they did," Dunn said as he jumped upward into the slip point, nearly banging his head before placing one foot on the grav plate and sticking fast. Only that's not really a grav plate, he reminded himself. He walked quickly into Medical Bay 1 to find McRoberts. "Let me get back to you in a minute."
"Out,"
she said. McRoberts stood next to Pragman, the two of them looking very confused. "Why are we moving?" "No time to answer that question. Just trust me. We need to get everyone to Med Bay 3. Put them in stasis pods if necessary. We're going to be damn busy as soon as we take off." "Take off?" McRoberts and Pragman asked at the same time. Dunn nodded. "Just another item to add to the unbelievable list." He gestured to Carbonaro, who was busy rolling out two tables, both inhabited by sedated patients covered in gauze. "Come on, get moving." Pragman placed a hand on his shoulder and Dunn spun. "What?" "I'm sorry," he said. "Your gunnery sergeant didn't make it." Dunn parted his lips to ask what. But he'd known, hadn't he? He'd known the Marine wasn't going to make it. "Understood," he said. "Thank you for trying." He spun on his heel and headed down the corridor, grabbing the edge of another patient table and rolling it out. Gunny was dead. One of his old friends gone. Dunn sniffed back a tear and kept moving. If they weren't ready when things started to happen, more people were going to die. It seemed as though every time Noble had blinked, a new set of options appeared on the displays. Now he had activated the couches in Medbay 3, or as the display called it, main cabin. Medbay 2 was considered the hold, and Medbay 1, engineering. Not a damn bit of this made any sense. If he was reading this correctly, the medbay ship had been constructed to hold more than 3 times the population of Trident Station. Why build so big? A camera display appeared on the screen, and now he could see into medbay 3. Wint was still standing sentry near the damaged airlock. Carbonaro, McRoberts, Pragman, and a horde of medical personnel were still securing their patients into the couches, or placing them in stasis. He toggled through the cameras and found Copenhagen standing guard at the airlock leading into Trident's interior. She'd stand there forever, it seemed. The other exhausted Marines and squiddies that had been with her had departed, presumably heading for Medbay 3. Noble tapped the comms and connected to her. "Private?"
"Aye, sir."
"Move to Medbay 3, double time."
"Aye, sir,"
she said, no hesitation in her voice, no confused mumbling. Through the camera, he watched her spin in place, sling her rifle, and begin jogging. Noble didn't know how long they had left, but the captain was acting as though, well, how did Dickerson say it? Ass on fire and uniform catching? Something like that. "How long?" Dunn asked LeBlanc over the comms. He put on his helmet, turned on his air supply, and headed below decks. Once Copenhagen and Carbonaro appeared through the slip point, he waved them over. He could tell by the way they mag-walked through the ZG space that their eyes couldn't believe what they were seeing either.
2 minutes,
LeBlanc said. She was remarkably calm, although he wondered if that was merely for his benefit. "How long before Black is ready?"
5, maybe 6.
Dunn led the 2 Marines to an airlock on the module's port side. It was a one-way emergency airlock. If Dunn understood what the instruments had told him before they permanently disconnected from his block, the airlock only functioned for personnel on the interior. Once you were outside, that was it. There was no going back. "Noble," Dunn said over the command channel. "You understand this ship yet?"
"Oh, sure,"
Noble said, his voice not quite drenched with sarcasm. The lieutenant coughed and tried again.
"Sir, I don't have a clue what most of these sensors and readouts are telling me."
"Find the one that says gravity field generator."
"Okay,"
Noble said after a moment.
"found it.
"What's it say?"
Engage bubble. Gives me options between 0 and 2G. Also, a power meter with a distance calculator."
"Distance?"
Vicinity, whatever you want to call it. Size of the bubble.
Dunn raised an eyebrow. "What's the amount?"
25 meters.
Dunn's heart sank. That wasn't large enough to cover 3 medical bays. They'd be left with a relatively small...
Oh, wait. Once the bubble is activated, we're inside it. That range is how far to extend the bubble.
"Extend," Dunn echoed. "Genius. Check the power levels and make sure it's ready to engage."
"Sir, what the void is this thing?"
Dunn gave a mental shrug. "A gift of sorts, I think. I imagine when we get it back to a port, you're going to have fun ripping it apart to find out how it ticks." There was a grin in his voice when Noble spoke.
"I'm afraid to touch it the wrong way."
"I know how you feel," Dunn said. "No block connections, correct?"
"No, sir, I've tried. Repeatedly."
Noble mumbled the last word just loud enough for Dunn to hear it. A new window appeared on Dunn's HUD with a distance gauge and relative positions of the objects in near real time. "Oh, shit," Dunn said. He reconnected to LeBlanc. "Status on Black?"
5 minutes, 3 if we're lucky.
"Noble."
"All ready, sir. Just tell me when."
Dunn nodded and opened the company channel. "Black Company, listen up. Lieutenant Noble has the comm chair as pilot. Went, coordinate with Lieutenant Noble for fire control. Captain McRoberts will be the commanding officer of this vessel until relieved. Follow her orders." Wint, Murdoch, and Noble responded with eyes. Copenhagen and Carbonaro seemed to exchange a glance, although it was impossible to tell through their visors. "Good hunting," he said, and switched to his squad channel. "Copenhagen, once the wave of inbound creatures have dispersed, you're going to rendezvous with Lieutenant Talby. He'll get as close as he can, but you're going to have to chance the jets."
"Aye, sir,"
she said, the hint of a question in her voice. "What is it, Private?"
"Sorry, sir. Just wondering how we're going to disperse the creatures?"
"With something they're allergic to. Carbonaro, you're with me. We're going to get the Black Hangar in a hurry. Sync with me on the burns."
"Aye, sir."
"Once we're in the hangar, we'll figure out what's next."
"Aye, sir."
Carbonaro said again. This time there was more steel in her voice. "Good," he thought. The seconds ticked off and Dunn glared at the chronometer. He switched to the trajectory tracker. 30 seconds left, and the creatures were coming in like bullets. Noble, get ready.
Aye, sir.
Dunn felt stupid after saying it. If Noble wasn't ready by now, they were already fucked.
15 seconds.
LeBlanc called over the comms. Dunn closed his eyes, counted to 5, and Noble, engage. The ship's deck vibrated beneath their boots as if being shaken by a shatterstorm. The 3 Marines would have lost their balance without their mag boots sticking them fast. The deck quake lasted another 10 seconds before a set of warning lights flashed from the bulkheads. Dunn growled at them. Hold together. 5 more seconds. 10 more seconds. The quake slowed before coming to an abrupt halt. Then it sounded like the hull was catching micrometeorites. Noble?
Go, go, go!
Noble yelled over the comms. Dunn popped the airlock, and the 3-meter rectangular hatch yawned open into a debris field he had trouble believing. Shattered carapaces, limbs, and silver talons spiraled and spun through space, some of them still moving at incredible speed. A dozen or so meters away, Dunn saw the edge of the gravity bubble, the occasional piece of broken creature hitting the field and practically detonating in response.
Changing the field,
Noble said, and the shimmering bubble disappeared. Now, Dunn yelled. He and Carbonaro jetted off directly toward the S&R hangar modules that were nearly half a click away. Through his rear cam, he saw Copenhagen jetting to a bright light moving toward her. Talby had her. Noble, protect the ship. Cut the range to 5 meters until you've cleared the moorings. Get the survivors to safety.
Aye, sir.
Noble sounded as though he wasn't sure how to take that. Dunn wasn't going to elaborate. In 20 to 30 minutes, he'd either be dead or what? That was the question, wasn't it? No, Captain. The question is, what are you going to do 2 seconds from now? Another ghostly voice from his imagination, but it was what Gunny might have said in this situation. He and Carbonaro ate the space between the med bays and the hangar modules. S&R Blue floated 50 meters away, a single skiff of Marines and 2 SVs standing sentry over Black's open hangar door. Coming in hot, Dunn said over the mic and cut his thrusters. Carbonaro did the same.
Acknowledged,
LeBlanc said. Carbonaro, you grab the nearest squad, whomever they are, and get in a skiff.
Aye, sir,
she said. 200 meters, 150, 100. Flip, Dunn said, and they each rotated 180 degrees before hitting the thrusters in a quick burn. The pair of armored human missiles slowed, but it took time. Momentum in ZG is a bitch, Dunn mused. His breathing should have been rapid, adrenal glands pumping, but he was calm and would remain calm until something happened. He took in a deep breath, eyes glued to his rear cam feed. The hangar lip was coming at them too fast. Full burn, he said over the comms and hit his jets. Carbonaro did the same and the pair slowed fast. Even so, they hit the lip harder than Dunn was prepared for. His knees complained with twinges, but he ignored them. He turned and saw S&R Black, 2 combat-suited Marines patrolling the hangar coupling to the station, and 2 others in a skiff. The skiff's cannon looked like nothing he'd ever seen before. On close inspection, he didn't think the skiff was something he'd ever seen before either. The material was different than traditional Atmos steel. It didn't have that same gray sheen to it. Instead, ambient light practically slid off its surface. It also had a strange-looking turret housing. He wasn't sure what ammunition it fired, but he thought he'd find out shortly. One of the Marines saluted him.
Captain Dunn?
Yes, he said and returned the salute.
Sergeant Privardi, sir,
the woman said.
Captain LeBlanc said to await your orders.
He blinked before a slow grin spread over his face. Hello, Sergeant. She did she? He pointed at Carbonaro. Coordinate with my Lance Corporal. She can give you any advice you need about tactics or strategy or...
Aye, sir,
the sergeant said, a tinge of confusion in her voice.
But...
Dunn switched to the command channel. LeBlanc, I'm sending my Lance Corporal out with Sergeant Privardi.
Acknowledged,
she said.
May I suggest you hurry?
Get the lad out, Dunn said, and rushed for S&R Black. The moment the airlock allowed him into the cargo bay, Dunn jogged for the cockpit. Black?
Yes, Captain.
What's your status?
Ammunition restocked and reactors refueled. However, I seem to be missing a full crew.
He wasn't sure, but he detected a hint of worry in her voice. When he reached the cockpit, Oakes was already sitting in front of the holodisplay. His magmug was nowhere to be seen, and his flechette rifle was maglocked to the bulkhead within easy reach. "Sir," he said without turning around. "Welcome back." "Feel like I went in a big fucking circle," Dunn said with a grin. He took his place in the co-pilot's couch and maglocked himself in. His holodisplay came to life with windows from the ship's cams, the helmet cams from Copenhagen, Talby, and Carbonaro, and several more from S&R Blue. Dunn initiated a block connection to Black. The AI immediately accepted. "Yes, Captain." "This may be our final block communication, so let me be brief. I need you to give me everything you have, everything you learned from Red, Blue, the Trio G, whomever the void you've been talking to all this time, and I need it now." The first image she sent to him was of her avatar, the one he'd seen during his conversations with G. "She was always meant to protect," G's voice echoed in his mind. Dunn grinned in real life. Then a torrent of information and images sprayed across his consciousness.